Hey everybody, my name's Kyle and this is Track by Track, music reviews, news, and commentary. For today's video, I'm going to give you a little insight into my collecting and my music purchasing habits. As you might expect from this wall of music behind me, I buy a lot of CDs. I don't know the exact number in my collection, but it's around 5,000. Every January, I have my ritual where I take all of the music that I purchased over the last year and somehow find a way to shuffle it all into these shelves. In 2017, I added 232 albums to my collection, so that's the challenge I'm facing here, finding room for 232 more CDs. But let's take a closer look at those new additions. For a lot of you watching, 232 probably sounds like a lot of CDs in one year. Here's a monthly chart to show you how those were spread out over the year. But keep in mind, I buy a lot of used CDs too. In fact, almost half of what I purchased last year was used, 115 discs to be exact, and on average I paid $2.25 a piece for them. That leaves 117 new CD purchases in 2017, and here's what that looks like monthly. And here is what it all looks like before I find a home for it in my shelves. Now, just like every January when I tackle this task, I've enjoyed looking back at some of the interesting acquisitions that I've made over the past year. For example, let me share with you a few of the used CD finds that I was happy to have stumbled upon. First up, here's a pair of Coldplay EPs, early Coldplay EPs. These came out before Coldplay's debut album Parachutes. We have Trouble and Brothers and Sisters. Found these used for about $2 a piece. Also for around $2, this Tori Amos sampler from her box set Tori Amos A Piano. Very rare promo disc right here. Also rare is this Paul McCartney Russian album, a bunch of oldies that he covered on this. This is out of print. Did not have this in my collection yet, so I was happy to have stumbled upon that. And finally, this is a Belle and Sebastian 3 EP set, Lazy Line Painter Jane. If you haven't checked out Belle and Sebastian, highly recommended, and I was happy to get these added to my collection. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of music by a lot of artists, but every year I still end up filling some of the gaps in my collection. Here's a few of those additions. Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, somehow I did not have that. Green Day. Here's a New Order disc that I didn't have in my collection yet. Again, the Pixies, Surfer Rosa. How I didn't own this already, I'm not sure. Here's a disc by The Replacements, Roxy Music. Here's one by The Who. And another big accomplishment for 2017 for me was finishing off my Rolling Stones collection. I now officially have every Rolling Stones album. I haven't even had a chance to unwrap these yet, but these albums right here, these CDs finish off my complete collection of all of the Rolling Stones albums on CD. Everybody loves a greatest hits album. You get all of your favorite songs by one artist all packed onto one disc. In 2017, I added a ton of greatest hits discs to my collection. These are all used, in fact, so again, just a couple of bucks a piece. Here's a sample of just some of the greatest hits albums that I added to my collection in 2017. Starting out with The Jam. Here's Badfinger. Joe Walsh's greatest hits. Jay Giles Band. Starship. Luther Vandross, a 2-disc set there. The Partridge Family. Here's John Hyatt's greatest hits. The Best of the Commodores. The Essential Mary Chapin Carpenter. Going back to the 80s is Richard Marx. Tommy James and the Shondells, The Best of Parliament, and another funky one, Sly and the Family Stone. Of course, another staple of every music collection is live albums, and I added a bunch of those over the past year as well. Here's Bob Dylan, The Real Royal Albert Hall Concert, David Bowie. Here's a good one, 2 CD, 1 DVD set from REM. Jane's Addiction doing the anniversary tour for Ritual de lo Habitual. Rolling Stones continuing their Live from the Vault series. That's another great one. Van Morrison, a classic. Gotta love Van Morrison. Here's one I was really excited to find. A 15 CD set of the complete 1978 radio broadcasts by Bruce Springsteen. Great music there. Here's a reissue of Roy Orbison's Black and White Night CD and DVD set there. Paul Simon and Carole King both performing live separately in Hyde Park CD and DVD set. This one was tough to find, but it's Peter Gabriel's Back to Front, his performance of his classic album So in its entirety. Again, 2 CDs and 2 DVDs included with this. And earlier this year, you might have seen this one reviewed here on my channel, David Gilmour, Live in Pompeii. If you hadn't had a chance to check out the unboxing as well as the full review of this, be sure to check that out. Now, I know that my collection leans pretty heavily toward rock and roll, but I do have music of just about every genre. And here's a few of the non-rock examples of that I picked up in the past year, starting with Chet Baker, another great Stan Getz. How about the best of Liza Minnelli? Diana Krall, one of my favorite contemporary jazz singers. The music of John Philip Sousa. John Williams doing the music from Steven Spielberg's movies. Squirrel Nut Zippers, a Christmas album. And the best of Clannad. Is it Clannad or Clannad? Anyway, great Irish music here. Another thing that I enjoy adding to my collection is autographed CDs. I got just a handful of those in 2017, starting with a couple from the Pledge Music website. Here's Joan Osborne's Bob Dylan tribute album, and then Paula Cole went the standards route for ballads, autographed there, very nice. Also in 2017, the Cranberries released Something Else, and if you ordered via their website, you could get one with the booklet autographed by the entire band, so that's very cool. Also had 2 donations to the collection. I had a friend that found out what a huge music collection I had, and they contributed to it with autographed copies of Third Eye Blind and the Goo Goo Dolls. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you've probably noticed that I pick up a lot of deluxe editions and box sets of classic albums that have been remastered and then reissued with bonus discs. Here's just some of those that I picked up in 2017, starting with Flowers in the Dirt by Paul McCartney. He's continuing his archive collection with this one here, and I'm sure we'll see more of those coming out again in 2018. The Late Great Prince, Purple Rain. This was a fantastic deluxe edition, and I hope we see more releases like this from the Prince estate in the future. Radiohead, OK Computer came out in deluxe edition in 2017. I opted for the 2-disc version of this. I also opted for the 2-disc version of the Joshua Tree by U2. Both of those albums came out with super deluxe box sets in 2017, but a lot of the big fans had a lot of the content that was in those already. Not a whole lot of new material in either of the super deluxe versions of those. So if you're like me, you may have also opted for the 2-disc versions, which were a bit more affordable as well, of course. REM continued to release deluxe editions of their albums in 2017. They brought us Automatic for the People. This anniversary edition came with some great unreleased content, definitely well worth checking out. 2017 also brought us a deluxe release of The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. This is a classic alternative album from the 80s that belongs in every true music fan's collection. It's hard to believe that Kick by INXS turned 30 last year. This deluxe edition of that album is really spectacular. You've got the entire album remastered, plus all the remixes and single edits are in this collection. You've got a Blu-ray disc that's got all the music videos as well as the entire album mixed in surround sound. So if you're an INXS fan, you definitely need to check this one out. Finally, here's one that was super popular here on Track by Track, and that's George Michael's Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. 2017 brought us a beautiful deluxe edition of this album. I did a full unboxing video of this as well as an in-depth review of the deluxe edition. Be sure to check that out here on the channel, as well as videos for The Smiths, INXS, and REM if you want to see unboxings of what came inside of those sets. Of course, what gets most music fans excited each year is brand new music that comes out. I got a ton of it last year, and you saw me review some of it right here on this channel, starting with Science Fiction by the band Brand New. I'd never heard of these guys until 2017, and I'm so glad that I discovered them. LCD Sound System returned with American Dream last year. Also, new music from Foo Fighters, Tori Amos, The Killers, Robert Plant. One of my favorite albums of the year, Phoebe Bridgers. Check this one out as well as the review. Let me know what you think of it. Also, new music from Beck, Bare Naked Ladies returned, and of course, the new studio album from U2. These are just the ones that I reviewed. There was about 60 more new albums that I picked up on top of these. In 2018, I'll definitely try to bring you more new music reviews right here on the channel. Finally, I want to share with you the crown jewels of my music purchases from last year. These are the most expensive things that I added to my collection, and they were worth every penny. Starting with the new super deluxe edition of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. This was a spectacular deluxe edition. I really hope we see more like this coming from the Beatles in the future. And rumor has it that the White Album is due to get the deluxe treatment next, so let's keep our fingers crossed that we see that in 2018. Finally, this is the biggest thing I think I've ever added to my music collection, and it's Pink Floyd, the early years, 1965 to 1972. This is a massive 28-disc deluxe edition. Tons of incredible music included here. Tons of video content on the DVDs, as well as lots of great swag items. I found a great deal on it, and that's how I was able to add it to my collection, but it was still not cheap as you can imagine, but I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan and I'm so excited to be able to have this in my collection. Alright, so there you go. There's a peek into my year in music. Now I'm sure most people watching think that's pretty over the top. That's fair, but you know, everybody needs a hobby. What was your year in music like? Did your album collection grow? What were your favorite finds? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know by clicking the thumbs up icon. Better yet, click subscribe, because true music fans always want new releases the day they come out. Once again, my name's Kyle and this is Track by Track. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.